Today is Friday, April 17th, which is, or would have been, my dad's birthday had he still been alive. And today he would have been turning 78 years old. And my dad's and my relationship wasn't always good while he lived on the earth. But when he got sick, I really got a notion of just how important it was going to be to mend and heal our relationship before he left, and I didn't have the opportunity to do so. And so I'm happy to report that we both went at that with hearts wide open, and we cleared monumental amounts of stuff before he left. And he left holding my hand, which was truly amazing. And it wasn't till years later when I was having sort of a dream memory about that, and I had been seeing, 111 and 1111 a lot, and I was in a pretty traumatized state at that point in time in life, and I just couldn't figure out why I kept seeing that number over and over again. But when I revisited the moment that he left me in a writing that I was doing, it hit me like a ton of bricks that wow, that he left at 111, and so that is how he shows up. And so today was no different. I woke up a little bit tired, went back to sleep, listened to my body about needing rest instead of hammering away at the gotta get to the to-do list that I've got going on. And so I listened to my body in that respect, and I laid back down and rested a little, which was good for me to listen to. And by the time I actually got to my meditation, I went to press play on it and the clock said 11:01. So of course I had a little cry and got really clear that the magnitude that I felt, that vibration, the support that I feel from the other side, from my dad in particular, but from my ancestors who are here in the background supporting me because they know and can sense and feel that I am continually every day taking a step towards aligning that place where I'm aligned with walking my path. And I've known for a long time that I wasn't actually honoring that, but I didn't know how to get through all of this stuff in order to make it important enough. It was always maybe someday, sometime later, I'll get to that. Right now, I don't have time to feel those emotions and go through the stuff and really amp up my desire for healing. And although, honestly, I've been dedicated to that for over 20 years now, intentionally, consciously, to the degree that I can at any given time, taking steps towards healing past pain and past trauma and past hurts, and moving forward and rejoining the land of the living, because there was a point in time, when I was pretty much recluse in my house for almost 5 years. The only place that I ever went was the grocery store. And, my only purpose at that point in time was to get up and feed my kids. And my depression was hard. And my moods were, insane. And the feelings were of such utter darkness that I didn't know that I would ever see the light of day again. And then eventually I got to a point where there was a stirring inside of me for something more. And I wanted to create something more than just my couch and the television. And at that point in time, that made it so that I, started discovering again what it is that brings me joy, what it is that makes me happy, what it is that makes me feel fulfilled when I'm participating in those places. And so the first place for me that I, a return to life, if you will, a shock to the system, but in a good way, was with Portal Players and the being on stage with Jesus Christ Superstar and Rocky Horror, and living my creativity and having such an amazing resource to access and to take action towards, and then allow to put out there for people to see. It's quite the process. And then I was revisiting a number of years ago when I found myself in a place that I thought was the be all and end all. I, was taking the rise and everything was coming back to life, and I was feeling rejuvenated and whole again and on purpose and so excited about life. And I started moving in those directions, and I started, hosting a radio station or a radio show, co-hosting it, and life was really good and I felt really amazing. I felt the level of vitality I've always dreamed of feeling and never knew was obtainable, and I started living aligned to those places. And unfortunately, at some point in time, I found myself in the middle of this group of people that I would have considered my absolutely nearest and dearest family. And what happened next was things that started to occur that were completely out of alignment with how I feel and what resonates in my body. And so I found myself all of a sudden in the middle of this club going, how did I get here and why am I here? And I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to be supportive of this because it doesn't resonate in my soul. But I didn't then know how to raise my voice and say, hey, this isn't okay. We need to talk this out. Like, I want to hold someone to a different kind of accountability. I would like this to be different than it is. And the truth was, I knew that if I continued to stay there and participate without saying anything, that my heart would shrivel and die. My spirit would not be okay there. There was nowhere to thrive there. And so, I felt like I got hit by a Mack truck at that point in time, and it's not the first time that that's happened in my life, so it was familiar. And the sort of deep, dark spiral that happened after that, where I, went to some pretty dark places and really started beating myself up and feeling unworthy of love and unworthy of friends and unworthy of trust. Everything was completely obliterated yet again, and I was at the effect of all of that. And, for 2 or 3, 4 years now, actually probably 5 or 6 now that I think about it, it's been a trajectory changing event. And I've been sort of wandering around a little bit lost and a little bit groggy almost, and unable to actually harness what it is that I want, in fear that either I would be put in that position again where I would lose it all, having people that say they're supportive to my face and not behind my back, and get that rug pulled out from underneath me and feel lost again. And the deal is, falling hurts, man. I don't have to tell you, I'm sure, because I'm sure you've experienced it. Falling and being the victim to people's malicious thoughts and actions, words, especially when it's out of alignment with what they are telling you to your face, is damaging. Absolutely. But today when I woke up and I did I didn't do the meditation first, pardon me. It asked me at that point in time for a task to bring someone to mind that I've written on a previous list about someone that has harmed me in some way. And of course it said to meditate on this and let the person's face appear. And it didn't take but 2 seconds for me to understand who that needed to be. And I was asked to write a letter of gratitude. And in that moment, I was feeling like, definitely don't feel gratitude. But I'm curious and I'm interested in making changes to have different outcomes. And so I thought, okay, I'll explore this a little bit. And so in writing down all of the qualities that I found were negative in this person, to clear the stuff so that I could maybe get to a layer of gratitude, once it was puked onto the paper, I was like, all right, okay, I can shift that, because right now in my life, I'm so freaking excited at a time when I should be scared, when I should be in my bed, when I should be reacting in that same downward spiral that I've visited so many times in my life. I actually feel the most focused, the most clear, the most conscious, the most excited, the most joyous, the most hopeful, the most faithful that I've ever felt in my life. And I have no idea. Like, I know right now that I should be worried about this, that, the other thing, but I can't lend my energy to those places when I am occupying my energy elsewhere. There is no energy left over for those places. So when I focus on the things that I want to expand, then those are the things that get my attention. They get my energy. They get my focus. And man, that is a powerful thing, because I get to choose that at any given second, regardless of what's going on around me. And I can be inundated with all kinds of things on a daily basis, particularly if you're out there dealing with the public. Because the heightened frenzy that's going on, people are being very unkind to each other in some circumstances, and it's unnecessary, but it's coming from a wounded place. It's coming from their wound and their fear, which is evident when it's going on. It's real. And so our choice is with our decision and how we respond to things and what it is that we choose at any given time to put in to our senses and then take away from that. What do we learn from those things? I was talking yesterday about being hungry. I'm learning how to be hungry for something other than food. And that is something else for you. It may be food for you, but it also may be too much exercise. It seems crazy, but there are all kinds of vices that people grab onto in order to numb out to the idea of just being present with whatever shows up. What is. And my search for divinity at this point in time is that place where I can be peaceful no matter what's going on or coming at me. And it's a practice. It certainly isn't a destination. It is a journey. And I'm so happy to have the ability to get back on track when I find myself off, to hold myself accountable to what it is that I say that I want, to have such levels of joy and acceptance and love and understanding and flow and living in that depth of presence. It's such a gift. And again, that is a practice. It is a journey, not a destination. When I find myself there, it's just an opportunity to say, oh, there I am again. Okay. Recalibrate. Re-choose. What do I want? The question that I ask myself on a regular basis to get myself back into that space is, how can my song help the whole world sing? And when I'm in alignment to those things, when I'm on purpose, when I'm walking my path, and I'm doing and being the way that I want the world to be, when I'm practicing those things, those are the things that expand. And this is an expansive place. That's what we're doing here. Today's lesson was about synchrodestiny. Synchrodestiny. And so when I was able to frame that experience with that person in a different way, that it was synchrodestiny that brought that person into my experience and had all of the stuff unravel as it did, in the instance that it was happening, it felt like torture. It was awful. And subsequently, a number of years later, it was still really painful. But the truth is, today, I got to write it down on paper. I got to write a letter of gratitude, and then I read it with absolute belief, with energy, with passion, that I no longer have to carry this person with me, because I can just now put them down. With love and gratitude, because without that experience, I would not have had the experiences that I have had over the past couple of years. And ultimately, what makes me so excited about that is that it leads me right here today, where I'm getting to know myself a little more, and I'm getting to love myself a little more, and I'm getting to be more conscious about why I do the things that I do when I do them, instead of in hindsight. And I can feel the changes happening on a daily occurrence, because I am taking action in the direction that I say that I want to expand and grow. And I can feel the difference. It's amazing. It hasn't been very long. This is day 32, I think. It's amazing to me the power that lies in manifestation when I plug into it. And for so long, I kept cutting the cord or unplugging it or stepping on it or negating to plug it in, out of fear of being judged, ridiculed, torn down. And now I have built up this shield of protection, so thick, yet see-through and clear, so that those things can no longer penetrate my experience, because they don't have permission to be here anymore. And I let all of that stuff go that no longer serves me, with tons of gratitude and complete belief that I'm on the right track, on the right road, on the right path, on the right page, doing the right things. And I hope and pray that somehow something I say helps you to do the same. So much love. See you tomorrow.